Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your very happy Father's Day edition of Wasatch Weekends. We love getting to be here to bring you all sorts of wonderful information. Now, don't forget, if you're in the market for a last-minute Father's Day gift, well, then you can make your way over to Park Silly and you can find that perfect gift because they've got some great booths and vendors over there. Now, we've got a great show in store for you. We're going to be chatting with the Summit County Health Department about some things that maybe you want to know, as well as a wonderful psychotherapist. Wasatch Weekend starts right now. We had an opportunity to sit down with the Summit County Health Department and get an update about everything that they've got going on and give you some great information, so let's hear what they have to say.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and today we have Summit County Health Executive Director Dr. Phil Bondurant to talk to us about all things public health, as well as give us a little bit of an update on some of the current health trends we are seeing here in our county. So Dr. Bondurant, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I know you've been on the show, a while back, so it's a pleasure to have you back and kind of talk about all things currently happening at the Summit County Health Department, as well as some of those trends, as I mentioned. But before we dive into all of that, I want to kind of touch on some of the health department's core values, because I know that's kind of, at the center of all the work that you do. So let's talk about, some of those core values and what makes these so important.
Yeah, I think any organization that wants to be successful has to have values that set the course for what they want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And when you look at a public health department, somebody that is filled with professionals that are dedicated to serving a community, those values really instill confidence in a community. So when we talk about transparency, accountability, awareness as a few of those core values,
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping builds trust in our community. We want people to know that we're transparent with the information we have. We're accountable to our community members. We're accountable to taxpayers, and that we're aware of what's going on in our community, not just in the sense of what are the data telling us, but what are we hearing on the streets? What are our community health workers hearing? What do we hear when we meet with individuals in meetings and they're telling us, that may be what you're hearing at a federal level, but here locally, this is how we're impacted.
Yeah.
And then when we dive into the idea of equity and innovation and employee culture, really those values drive that passion that our employees have for service and to help the community with better health outcomes and to address all the social determinants of health that really determine the type of life we lead, how healthy we are, and how happy we are.
Absolutely, and I totally agree. The importance of having these core values behind any organization, but I think it's especially true, as you mentioned, for a public health organization. That you guys are all doing such important work in the community to really have these values behind the work that you do. I think that's very important. Now, I know that you all do a lot at Summit County Health, and your main focus is obviously keeping our communities safe and healthy. Tell me a little bit about some of those services, programs, resources that you are doing every day.
Yeah, and I appreciate you acknowledging that the health department does a lot. We have a highly qualified, highly passionate staff that really want to address public health as a collective from a holistic perspective. And we do all the traditional public health measures, vaccinations, inspections of restaurants, those things that we've become that have become synonymous with the health department. But what's lesser known is some of the unique programs that we have in the health department that oftentimes go unnoticed,
Yeah.
but there's a social expectation that somebody's looking out for these things. One of the things that we do that really catches people by surprise is that every time there's a mass gathering or a large event
Uh-huh.
in Summit County, we have inspectors out there ensuring that the trash is taken care of, that there's water available, that the event is safe, it's compliant with state rule. So when you attend a Park Silly Market on a Sunday afternoon, believe it or not, public health inspectors have been there already. They were there at setup, and they were there working with the vendors, with the individuals setting up the event to make sure it's as safe and as healthy as possible. Another event or another thing that we do in the health department is we're unique in that we have sustainability and mental behavioral health inside of the health department umbrella. In most areas or jurisdictions, you see sustainability as its own department, and you see behavioral health as a separate department outside of public health. But here in Summit County, we've recognized that our health is tied to more than just a few vaccinations and what our physical health looks like, but it's also mental health. It's how we're feeling for that day. We understand the climate and how that impacts your health and how you feel when you go out on a day where there's bad air quality. And so by joining those individual disciplines with public health, we've been able to really touch on some subjects that may not communicate with one another in a traditional sense, but leverage the expertise of each individual group to build a more holistic approach to public health and really address all aspects of health, from the environment to our physical health, all the way through our mental and behavioral health.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a really unique approach that you mentioned, joining maybe some of these departments that are not traditionally part of a public health department, but that really do fall under this overall holistic well-being that you mentioned, that is important for all the community. And you mentioned obviously some of that work that happens behind the scenes, such as the inspections and such. For folks that want to access some of those public facing services, how can they go about maybe setting up an appointment or contacting the health department for some of those public services?
Yeah, I appreciate that segue, because that's a great way to discuss the new website that we just launched.
Okay.
They can go to www.summitcountyhealth.org, and we have a brand new website. We're still working out a few kinks, but what we learned previously is that our website was performing below industry standard in terms of connection speed and availability. There were some significant gaps, or it did not read very well, if that makes sense, in terms of people accessing the site had trouble understanding the information. It was not ADA compliant. There were a number of issues. And so you can go to the website. Eventually, you'll be able to book appointments straight through the website. You'll be able to have access to everything and anything that we do. And of course, you can always call our main hotline at 435-333-1500. We have both English and Spanish receptionists available that can answer questions. We can put you in touch with our professional clinicians to talk about vaccines or other medical procedures that we offer. It's really an all-inclusive one-stop shop. And in the event that we don't offer that service, we do have quite the directory of services here in Summit County that we can connect you to, and make sure that people, when they hang up the phone or they leave the front desk, they have the information they need to be successful and to take care of their health.
Absolutely. Well, that sounds like some exciting updates, and we'll definitely stay tuned as some of those upcoming updates roll out on the website as well. Now, Dr. Bonder, and I kind of want to transition into talking about the community health assessment that you guys are currently conducting. Tell me a little bit about what is this community assessment, why it's important, and what you guys are hoping to learn from it, or how you plan on using the results to guide the work of the public health department.
Yeah, the community health assessment is not only an exciting event in public health, but it's most importantly, it's one of the most important things that we do. This is the document and the effort that really gives us the data to drive what it is we do, how we allocate resources, where we spend our time, the groups that we focus on. And it ensures that, going back to those values, that we're accountable to the information that we have, and that we're using this information to make data-driven decisions. It is a big effort. It takes almost a year to put together.
Okay, wow.
But in the end, come December, when we finish this up, we will have a document full of data that helps us build a community health improvement plan, or a CHIP. And that is where you see the rubber hit the road, where we begin to take resources, better allocate them to those communities or those individuals in the community that need the resources, and drive social change, where we address social determinants of health, and we can feel confident that the impact that we're making is doing just that. It's having an impact and it's improving lives.
Absolutely. And for everyone watching at home, if you want to make your voice heard and be part of this community assessment, this is your perfect opportunity to maybe, shed light to some of those concerns or anything related to some of those public health issues. And you can access that through the website as well, right, Doctor?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's on that brand new website. We've got kiosks in the libraries. We've got kiosks in our 3 different buildings across the county. We have paper available, both in English and Spanish. The survey is available in English and Spanish. We have all the different opportunities for individuals to take it, and hopefully have removed as many barriers as we could identify to allow people to share with us what they're thinking and what's important to them.
Absolutely. Dr. Bondurant, we're running out of time here, but I'd like you to touch briefly, if you could, on some of those current health trends that we are currently seeing, and what should Summit County residents be aware of for the summer season?
Yeah, summer is a wonderful time. It's my favorite time of year. We have 4th of July celebrations coming up, Pioneer Day, family vacations. And if there's 2 things that I can encourage people to consider during this time is, 1, make sure you're using sunscreen. Utah has the highest rate of melanoma in the United States, and Summit County is number 2 in the state of Utah. So while sunburns are typically a part of summer, and being out in the sun and being active, you expose yourself to the sun, which we always encourage activity. Be sure to take your sunscreen, wear hats, wear lightweight clothing, cover up that skin. It's one of those things that is preventable to a certain degree with some behavior changes, and I encourage people to do that. And then as you're out and about on those trails, getting that sun, enjoying the trails and the walking and the sports that we have available. When you get home at night off the trail from your mountain bike or a run, just do a quick check for ticks, both for you, your loved ones, your children, especially your animals. We do have ticks here in Summit County. We have had ticks that carry disease, tick-borne disease. And even in the event that you have a tick bite, that does not mean you're going to get sick, but quick removal, efficient removal ensures that you can continue to enjoy the outdoors disease-free and without concern or worry.
Watch for ticks and wear your sunscreen as you enjoy the outdoors this summer. Dr. Phil Bondurant with the Summit County Health Update. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing with us a little bit about what's happening at Public Health this summer. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are going to take a short break, but we'll be back with more of the show. So stay tuned after this. Thank you so much.
We had an opportunity to chat with a wonderful psychotherapist, Dr. Heather Hans, to get some great information about some maybe mental health tips and tricks that you should know. Let's hear what she has to say.
Welcome back. Our next guest is Dr. Heather Hans. She is a psychotherapist who has helped many people live their best lives. Dr. Hans, welcome. It's so good to see you.
Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be here. I love your work.
Thank you. I wanted to start with talking about some research you've done. You discovered something called improvisation visualization. What is that and how does that help people?
Yes, so this is actually a fun way to help your mental health and wellness because most people don't like to, deal with or uncover some maybe unpleasant patterns that they're working with or stressful memories. And I discovered this in my doctoral research where I was looking for a way to treat young women with anxiety. That was my client base at that time, the majority of my client base. And I had discovered both visualization and improvisation at some other point in time, and come to find out there's all this research on how they can reduce anxiety. So I put them together in a process that's actually also meant to be performed on TV or on stage because it's really entertaining. You know, you think of improv, and it's more than I could say just in a short snippet, but the key is that when you visualize what you want and then you improvise your way there, it not only helps you reach that goal, but it reduces anxiety along the way.
Yeah. I mean, I took improv classes in LA at the Ground
Did you?
Wings, and there's a lot of yes and there's a lot of performance. What does this process look like? I can't imagine it in a clinical setting.
Yes, I'm so glad you've taken it. So you know that part of improv is yes and. You never say no to someone because you keep the flow going of improvisation. And the way I kind of discovered the freeing technique of improvisation is I did a long journey or a long workshop at one point that was in California, and it was all for improv, every day, multi-day workshop. And I felt so free. We were all just making fools of ourselves, rolling around at one point, and it really helped to diminish, perfectionism. Of course, I like to be prepared and have things go a certain way, but with improv, you can't do that. And just being able to be your natural, weird, funny, goofy self, that reduces anxiety. So that was how I kind of came on that one. And then the visualization, I stumbled upon again years ago because I'm very into spirituality and different kind of esoteric and occult studies even, and I found this, this process of visualization. There's tons of research that's been done on it. Everyone from surgeons to lawyers to sports players use it to reach their goal. And through my research, I also found that it helps people reduce their anxiety as they're reaching their goal.
Wow. So have you used this technique in your own life to overcome anything?
Yes, I have. I use it all the time. In fact, when I'm on television, I do the live TV on 9 News, and that has to be very improv because you don't get the takes. But if you think about it, all of life is improv, no matter how much we plan. And so I feel like I use it every day to, when I've had something come up and that didn't go as planned. And the way that I use it is to say, okay, this is, whether it's, okay, I just got the hiccups and I'm about to go on TV or, or something really big, and personal. I look at, okay, I can do this, and you just have to be very present in the moment. This is why it works. Improvisation is about being so mindful and present right now. And you can't do that when you're thinking about the past or the future, and all of our power is in the now. So yeah, I feel like I use it every day.
That's amazing. One of my favorite quotes is, people make plans and God laughs.
Yes, exactly.
Because life is all about getting thrown curveballs all the time. I tell my kids that too. It's like, you got to go with the flow. You never know what's going to happen. So that's a really important tool to have.
Absolutely. I mean, I think of life as like one series of mistakes and repairs. Because it is. It's like and even with parenthood, as you bring that up, in my research on parenthood, I found out that it's not about being a perfect mother, it's about repairing the mistakes when you weren't present with your kids. And that's what creates the security, that they see that, oh yeah, you can repair that. You don't have to be perfect.
I love that you brought that up, because I just read an article about how it affects children to see their parents constantly on their phones, right? Mm-hmm. And so I try to put my phone away to be present with my kids, like you said, and pay them attention and be there. And that means so much to them. Have you found that, our devices make it really hard for people to be present?
Yes. And your kids are very lucky that you're very conscientious like that, because kids know, even animals can sense, when you're not present. And I know personally we have a rule, like you don't look at the phone at the dinner table, and just like having certain boundaries, but also realizing that the kids grow up fast, and a lot of times all it takes is just a few minutes of connection that really fills people up. You don't have to never be on your phone or not doing other things. But when you're with someone, to just really be fully present is a gift. And it really doesn't take that much away from the stuff you scroll through that you're probably not going to remember anyway.
Absolutely. And you're a big proponent of holistic fitness, correct?
Yes.
So what is that, and what are some takeaways that people can just start doing today, maybe to feel better?
Oh, I love that. I love that you're asking for practical tips because,
Yes.
it's easy, especially with psychology, to talk. A lot of it you can't see with your eyes what someone's psychology is, but I like bringing it down to earth like that. And when I think of holistic wellness, I just think you can't be fully healthy and whole unless you have the mind, body, and spirit all healthy. Not that we're static or just all perfect and healthy, but at least on that path. And so, couple things I would say is, first of all, I think most people know about exercise and how important that is, not just physically, but for your mental health and spiritually as well. In fact, the root cause of anxiety, as far as I'm concerned, this is my clinical specialty, is spiritual illness. Because you can teach people the techniques, but if they don't have that inner knowing, they're going to keep being anxious about new things. So a couple things I would suggest for people is kind of what we're talking about with the mindfulness and improvisation is paying attention to your physical body sensations. That's the easiest, quickest way to get out of your head. So like right now, if you are very quiet, I can hear like the sound of maybe a computer, and you can see the bright lights and things that you normally don't see that aren't even a big deal, the color of the flowers, but just doing that, taking the time to do that helps you get out of your worries, even if it's for a second. And then another thing to do is learn how to put your thoughts on trial. In other words, most people walk around believing that their thoughts and perspectives are reality. And instead, when you have a stressful thought, examine it. Is that true? Is that my perspective? And if it's not true, then you switch the thought. That's how creative we are. We can switch our thoughts and switch our realities by choice, really.
Right.
So just kind of questioning and then choosing a new thought.
Yeah. There was a philosopher that said the things that we worry about are just in our imagination. They're things that might never happen, probably won't ever happen, right?
Exactly.
Why do you think we're on this hamster wheel of ruminating on worries and thoughts? Do you think it's maybe our culture and society are contributing to this right now?
I'm sure, because there's never like one reason for anything. It's usually a combination. I do think, again, back to the spiritual illness and just illness in general, people are scared to feel calm. They're scared to be with themselves. They're scared to sit in silence. They're scared to, not have approval or. So having a core meaning in your life, something that's driving you, can help with that, because if you don't prioritize your health, you won't be healthy. It has to be the priority, and the healthier you are in mind, body, and spirit, then you're going to be giving more to other people as well.
Absolutely. I say that as a mother. I'm going to use this example again.
Yeah.
Like, I have to take care of myself. I have to prioritize sleep and health and exercise and all the things so I can be the best mom I can be. And, I see some people in this day and age, they're the hustle culture. They're working long hours. They're getting really worn down and burnt out. And I do think some of these tools that you brought up could be so helpful for so many people, going through anxiety and stress.
Yes.
And can people work with you? Are you taking clients?
Yeah, so I do. I have a therapy practice for Colorado residents, and then I also have coaching. So they're two different things. Psychotherapy, people can get a hold of me. My schedule's pretty full for that, but for coaching, that's a little different. It's more setting your goals, taking responsibility, and I provide kind of like more consulting in a way, just more education and helping people stay on track. So yes, those are all available. And then I also have a course on reducing anxiety that's very affordable, and that's on my website as well.
Amazing. So what's your website? We'll tell the viewers.
So yes, it's heatherhans.com. Thank you so much. And I also offer live speaking for all sorts of groups, whether it's a company, nonprofits, even social groups, and even families. I do presentations for sometimes.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Hans. I really enjoyed speaking with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into your Sunday edition of Wasatch Weekends. Make sure that you make it a very special day for Father's Day today, as we all know and love our dads oh so very much. Thank you again for tuning in. Make sure that you tune in again tomorrow for your Monday edition of Wasatch Weekends. I'll be your host, Maddie Evans, and I can't wait to see you.